A power struggle between two of the most powerful Republicans. You got House Speaker Paul Ryan against presumptive nominee Donald Trump. Now, you probably remember Ryan may have started all by saying he wasn't ready to support Trump, and here's how Mr. Trump responded.
I like Paul Ryan. I think he's a very good guy. He called me 3 weeks ago, and he was so supportive. It was amazing, and I never thought a thing like this.
So you're
stunned.
I got
blindsided by this.
You feel blindsided by him?
No, I would say stunned is a little bit, it's politics. I'm never stunned by anything that happens in politics, but I'm not, yeah, I was blindsided a little bit.
Now, Trump also suggested over the weekend he would consider booting Ryan as the chair of the convention. Again, I want to remind you, Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House. Anyway, so Ryan issued this statement in response. He's the nominee. He'll do whatever he wants with respect to the nomination. Almost sounds like he doesn't want to be there anyway. Now, those two will meet in Washington this Thursday. That, I would say, will be an interesting conversation. Let's bring in our panel right now. Jeannie Zaino, professor of political science at Iona College and professor of campaign management at NYU. Dominic Carter, political journalist and author. Richard St. Paul, an attorney, a Republican strategist and former vice chair for the National Black Republican Association. He's going to have a great time tonight. And Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent. As they say, you can't make this stuff up, but there's more because the story keeps on giving. So Donald Trump basically was asked about our national debt, and he said, it's a rounding number. I can renegotiate. The idea of renegotiating American debt, not exactly inspiring global confidence. And then when asked about, well, how about our annual deficits? Doesn't matter, I'll just print more money. It's called hyperinflation anywhere else in the world. My point is, how freaked out are Republicans right now about what's going to happen in Cleveland?
I think we've seen it. You have the ex-president, George Bush, two ex-presidents who are saying, hey, we're all but boycotting the convention. Mitt Romney talking about boycotting the convention. Republicans who are saying, look, I've never not voted Republican before in my life. You have corporations who are going to who are talking about boycotting the convention, which Donald Trump is going to have to raise money. Coca-Cola, Walmart talking about we're not going to be sponsors there anymore. So it's evident what chaos is there. So yeah, I do this comparison. So you fought so hard to get the Republican nomination, right? And they hand you your empire, and you look at your empire and you say, what do I have? It's scorched earth. There's disarray. There's nothing there. So it's almost like we have to rebuild the party because of Trump.
But I think there are legitimate questions about whether the troubles with Trump will actually bleed down to under-ticket races, to Senate races, House races, and gubernatorial races. So far, a lot of Republicans have been able to keep a healthy distance from Trump. That's what Paul Ryan's doing, and is providing a certain buffer for members of Congress or congressional candidates who don't want to be pinned to Donald Trump. It's going to be interesting as we approach election day.
But isn't that more hopeful than historical, Andrew? There's always a down-ticket consequence.
But the numbers have been good so far for Republicans turning out to the ballot. And I've talked to a lot of Republicans who are looking at, let's say, voting Gary Johnson on the Libertarian ticket, but they're still showing up to the polling booth, and they'll still probably vote Republican in down-ticket races.
I've heard that theory. But if you look historically, there is always down-ticket consequences, either through suppressed vote, or if they do get out and vote here, they can either vote D across the board or whatever else. You're not talking high-information voters. They want to make their point made on the presidency, and it's going to happen as a consequence. Either people may turn out that never turned out before, Latinos or whatever else. Right. I'm just saying, I heard your point, but right. Gina, there's also another issue, which is, and I heard this example today. Normally when there'd be a fight, where someone, for example, Hillary Clinton went after Trump today and some of his positions, that he's changed it as to whether or not he'd raise taxes or not on the highest income earners and lowest income earners. We're in May now in a presidential race. There's information machines or communication machines at the RNC, whatever, who's going to fire out a note. It was radio silence today. I mean, you can go after Trump with impunity, and there's no Republican machine that's going to do it. Now, I know Dominic's going to say, who cares about the elites? It's all about the base. And I'll go there in a minute. But it does matter when it comes to raising money, like Richard said. It does come matter for messaging. And do you really want the story of the convention for 4 days, who's not there rather than who is?
Yeah, I mean, and here's the problem. Everybody's got to go back and look at what Paul Ryan originally said. His remarks were pretty tame. He said, I want to get there. I'm hoping I will. We need to work together to do this. I mean, they were very tame. And Donald Trump came back in a very thin-skinned manner. Not just the first tweet, which was okay, but the subsequent tweets. And the problem is, Paul Ryan really does have not just a right, but an obligation to the party after a bitter battle like this to say, hey, look, this guy does not stand for everything we believe in, and we're going to try to work together to make this come to fruition. That's what he was saying. And yet he was hit by Donald Trump in this way. And again, I thought Donald Trump's first reaction was okay. But as you got to the later ones, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And, you know, Paul Ryan, whatever you want to say, this is a guy who is a new generation Republican. So not if you're talking some old Republican who's been in office forever and, you know, people see him as one time. No, this is Paul Ryan, a well-respected new face of the party. And so Donald Trump really has to try to embrace Paul Ryan and try to bring the party together. That's his obligation. And until he does that, you're looking at a convention that could be really problematic for the party, but more importantly for his candidacy.
You know, Don, we said throughout the process, and it was Trump's argument, hey, I got 17 people on the stage. It's impossible to break through the numbers and all that. But I also think it did another thing. It masked for him a platform or a policy of what he was for, what he was against. We heard a little bit dribs and drabs, but there were so many lightweights there that he didn't really have to try too hard to change the subject. But now he's getting questions every day. Foreign policy, he's getting questions on economic policy. He's getting questions, you know, and he's changing his mind on things from one day to the next. I get it. The base is angry out there. Both bases are angry, but they're angry out there. And people want a reason, some of them, to vote for Trump. Forget about the elites, you'll say. But Dom.
You got me down good.
No,
there.
but I do. But where I'm going with this is forget that he has to thread a really tight needle with basically all whites, okay? But now, for people who are saying, yeah, you know what, I'm with him, what exactly is he for? Now he's coming across Palin-esque that he's unqualified. And I know for a lot of people, they may be angry, but they don't want to give the launch codes to an unqualified guy.
I respond this way for risk of... I respond this way, Richard. He's been the presumptive nominee for what, less than a week?
And look what he's done.
Okay.
You're making my point.
Okay, no. What I'm saying is exhale. Let's take a step back. We've heard all of this before, that Trump is all over the place. It's not going to work. He's going to destroy the party. I mean, we heard that just now, that, you know, from a Republican, that he's going to destroy the party. It's my contention. I mean, we knew this was coming.
Come on, I
that
got
he
a
was
question
going
for
to
you,
ask.
Dom.
That,
I heard the promise that he was going to start acting more presidential. His campaign manager all but went to the RNC and begged the guys, give him it's an act, he's going to be a big boy. He clearly didn't get the memo from within the campaign.
Richard, but why would you change something that's successful to please a few media
because
pundits?
For me,
who cares what the
do you know
media
why?
pundits think?
Nobody cares what I think, but my only
Not
point
you,
is
I
this.
said
No, but I'm with you.
He's saying
There's a primary,
No,
there's a
that's
primary
it.
guy when you can throw as many bombs as you want. But now you get to the general, and you got no one else to deflect it to. In 3 or 4 days, he has given a lot of reason to think that when it comes to math and negotiations and understanding what debt deficits in terms of keeping our word, in terms of bond, all these things, he has no concept of what he's talking about. And he's changing his mind. Taxes on the wealthy. Remember I said, I'm willing to raise more taxes. Then, well, no, I'll cut more taxes. I just don't know how much I'll cut on them. That's just in one day.
I hear you. I don't think his base cares about that.
And due respect, I think you're looking at this with a much thicker magnifying glass than most voters are at this point. And the proof of that is look back to the primary season where he didn't have positions on most issues.
He didn't need to, though.
He had 4 positions on 4 issues, and that's it. And that basically got him the Republican nomination. I agree with Dominic. Why would he change that approach at this point?
But here's
and folks aren't looking at his fiscal policy
Here's why he has to modify, because you're not running to win the nomination now. Now you got to win the general, and that takes getting some of those hard-to-reach independent moderates, and that's where his challenge is going to be. He has to appeal not just to that narrow base of the Republican Party if he has any hope of winning.
He has to appeal to 100 million voters. That's what he needs
that's the
to
number.
appeal to. And look, what you find in the Republican Party is the Republican Party has a platform. It's not Donald Trump's platform, right? Republican parties might say, hey, listen, we are pro-life. We are for less taxes. Donald Trump might say, I'm for less taxes, but it depends on the situation. So he doesn't even follow the party platform. He follows his own platform. But he's got to march to some beat because people need a reason. The 100 million people are going to need a reason to vote for you.
But imagine if he disinvites Ryan. Now I know Dom's going to say, nobody out at home cares. But you know what the networks are going to be doing all day long? they're going to be doing remotes with Ryan somewhere as to what's he doing instead. They're going to be talking about all the empty chairs, all the sponsors, nobody that wants to be
The
there.
party has to come together, even if it's
But can they?
Well, we'll see. I mean, actually, at the end of the day, yes, they will have to by necessity. Obviously, they don't want to cede the White House to Hillary Clinton. But you're talking about Paul Ryan, who's the Speaker of the House. If you're president, you're going to have to work with Paul Ryan. So you've got to come together. However you do it, however you figure out, you have to come together. If it's not saying anything, if it's hey, I'll sit this one out, but there has to be some agreement of the
Sounds
Republicans
like you're
coming
hoping
together.
more than believing
No,
that's
no,
gonna
no.
happen.
It's a necessity. It's a necessity.
All right.
If you want to win.
Well, that's a big F. Coming up next, instead of toning things down, as we just said, Trump's ratcheting up the personal attacks and certainly the taunts. And this time he's going right after Hillary. Forget about inter-party fights here. Question is, if you were Counselor Clinton, would you say go right back at the guy or hope that he self-implodes?